I'm Mary Rowe from the Canadian Urban Institute, and I'm from Toronto. Do you know where Toronto is? Where's Toronto? Where is it? Who knows? Yeah, where? It is in Ontario. That's correct. That's correct. And I work for an organization called the Canadian Urban Institute. What does urban mean? Anybody know what urban means? What does it mean? Yeah. What does urban mean? Getting a little help here from a friend. It's the opposite of the country. What a perfect answer. Yes, urban means where a lot of people live together, often in cities, sometimes in towns, sometimes in different kinds of communities, but it's the opposite of the country. And you know, Canada exists of lots of country, and then you live in Canada, yes, and lots of urban. And we're here all week to learn about the urban stories in Victoria and in this whole region. And what's a very important part of the story is what you're going to hear about today in terms of the ancestral tradition here and how we in Canada are coming to terms with parts of our history that need to change, that we need to understand better, and how we can live together in real truth and reconciliation. And it's very important for the rest of Canada to hear from all of you how you're doing that. So thanks for letting us come to your town, to your house, to be part of your family. And I'm now going to pass it, just so you know, you can see there's a big screen here. There are people all across Canada right now listening. They are on their computers listening to this session. So not only are you here, but people across the country are listening too. And we are really, really excited that you've invited us to be part of this and that you showed up. So I'm going to introduce now the mayor. Do you know who the mayor is? No, she's right there. Her name is Lisa Helps, and she is the mayor of Victoria. And I'm going to pass to her because we are so pleased to be working closely with her in her office and with the Victoria Foundation all week. So thanks for coming. Have a great session, and I'll pass to the mayor.
Thank you, Mary. I'm going to take my mask off because I'm appropriately distanced and I want you all to be able to hear me and to hear Cindy and to hear Charlene. So I would like to begin today's session with acknowledging the Lekwungen territory. That's the home of the Songhees and the Esquimalt nations. And that means that right now, even though we're in downtown Victoria, those of us who are not Indigenous, we're actually visiting on other people's lands. And we always want to thank them for welcoming us to their lands. You're here today because this wonderful woman here named Cindy, she wrote a book, and it's a kid's book, and we're going to read you the book today. And then at the end of this session, each one of you get to take home your very own copy of this book. And it's called Spirit Bear: Echoes of the Past, based on a true story. And as you're listening to the story today, you'll probably hear some things that you might recognize and see some places that you might recognize, because part of this story takes place right here in the city of Victoria. So thank you so much for coming. To those of you who are viewing online, thank you for joining as well. We have with us in the theater today the 4 and 5-year-olds from the Victoria Native Friendship Center, and I believe a grade 1-2 class from George J. So let's give grade 1, 2, 4. Okay, the grade 1s and 2s and 4s have come from George Day. So thank you all for coming. This was Cindy's dream. Cindy wrote a book and she wanted to come back and share it with all of you. I'll just tell you a little bit about Cindy. She's a very famous and wonderful person in many ways. She is the executive director of an organization called the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society. And that name says a lot. Cindy's job and the job of all the people that work with her is to take care of First Nations children and First Nations families. And so we're very glad she's here today. Also with us is Charlene, and she's a city councillor in the city of Victoria. And she's also part of our city family. And if you remember the words city family, you might hear those in the story as well. So Cindy, I'll turn it over to you. And I know you probably want to introduce Spirit Bear, who's here with us on the panel as well and has his own chair.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Good. Okay. Well, this is Spirit Bear, and he's a very special bear. He hangs out with kids who are already making a big difference on something called reconciliation. Now, let's say that word together because that's a big one. Reconciliation. What that means is treating each other with love and with fairness, right? That's what we do. And so we're going to be telling you a story that's really based on a true story. And Spirit Bear is the author, bear author. And do you know who's heard of the University of Victoria? Yeah? Do you know that Spirit Bear has a PhD from the University of Victoria? Yeah, like it's hanging on his wall, like super cool. Okay, so while this is going to work is Charlene's going to read the first part of the book, and then Mayor Helps. And isn't that a cool name, Mayor Helps? Because that's what she does, is she helps all the people, right? Perfect name. Is going to tell you part of the story. Then I'm going to tell you a bit, and then back to Charlene to finish it off. But we're going to stop halfway through when Charlene finishes her piece and or when the mayor finishes her piece. And we're going to do the Spirit Bear cheer. So I want us all to practice just right now. So what sound does a bear make? Okay, now we can do louder than that. Let's try it again. All right. Okay, so let's do 4 of that. And I think we have a grade 5 class here too, right? In the back, and 3 cheers for the grade 5s. So they're going to make sure that we do the right number of cheers. So we're going to do that 4 gers. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, the next part is just because we're small. Let's say that, just because we're small doesn't mean we can't stand tall. Yeah, and make a difference in the world. That's what that means. And then what are we going to end with? 4 more gers. Are we ready? Gur, gur, gur. Good. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good practice session, Charlene. Are we ready to hear the story? Okay, it's about learning from the past. You go ahead.
Spirit Bear, Echoes of the Past, based on a true story. Hi, everyone. My name is Spirit Bear, and I was born in a huckleberry patch in the Carrier-Sacani Territory in British Columbia. I am a barrister, which means when I see something wrong, I have to learn about it and try to help. For the past 13 years, I have been trying to make sure First Nations kids get the help they need when they need it so they can grow up safely with their families, get a good education, and be healthy and are proud of who they are. It's been a long journey, so I'm going to take care of myself and go on a vacation with my mom, Mary the Bear, Uncle Huckleberry, my sisters, Mememgwe, Cedar Bear, Era Bear, and our good friend, Lakinsu. All right, that was a tough word. I'm learning new words today, so it's great. It's time to go on a vacation, Cubs, said my mom, Mary the Bear. Where do you want to go? Remember that we want to leave a small carbon paw print to help the environment. My sister Cedar Bear said, I want to go to New York City to see all the shops. Are there roller coasters there? I asked. That's too far away, Mom said. And besides, we would all have to get passports, like a passports, only they're passports. We live in Canada and New York City is in another country called the United States of America. My other sister, Memengwe, asked, Mom, what's a passport? A passport is like a human passport, but for bears. Mom replied, it says what country you are from. You need a passport to visit another country. That seems weird, I said. Uncle Huckleberry told me bears did not need passport until the settlers came and put up fences. Before then, First Nations peoples who now live in Canada and the United States had ways of welcoming each other instead of checking passports and searching through your luggage. That's right, Spirit Bear, Mom said. First Nations respected their neighbors and had ceremonies to welcome them and make sure they were well cared for while they visited. Mom, does that mean the New York City stores would welcome me and take care of me? Asked Cedar. Things have changed now, Cedar Bear, said Mom. The stores will welcome you, but you can't take anything unless you have money to pay for it. That means if you don't have a lot of money, it's harder to get what you need. I added, that's part of what I'm trying to fix, Cedar. Mom says every cub and child is sacred and they all deserve help, even if their parents don't have money. Mom tells us you don't need a lot of money when you have lots of love. That's why we share what we have with others so that no one goes without. Cedar smiled. Sharing is good. Don't we all think sharing is good? Yes. Are we going to share our vacation with someone, Mom? Where are we going? Just then I saw something moving in the bush. Look, it is Uncle Huckleberry and Lakinsh. They're coming with us on our vacation too. It's super cool to be here in the homelands of the Lekwungen speaking people, said Uncle Huckleberry. I can't wait to go fishing. The fish here are huge. Yes, Lekwungen agreed. But first, we have to introduce ourselves to the community and get permission to be on the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations territory. That is the respectful thing to do, said Uncle Huckleberry. I will come with you, and after that, I can take a nap because these cubs have lots of energy and are tiring me out. This is Possum. That's like awesome, only with a paw. Possum, when are we having lunch? I asked. Spirit Bear, we just had breakfast. You will have to wait for lunch, my mom told me. I have to go to the bathroom, my sister Era Bear said. Mom sighed. You just went. I know, but I have to go again, she insisted. Me too. The wind has messed up my fur, Cedar claimed. Early the next morning, Uncle Huckleberry came out of the tent. Morning, Mary. I hope the coffee pot is put on. Those cubs have lots and lots of energy. Good morning, Huckleberry, Mom said. I'm glad you and Lakinsu are helping to keep an eye on them. Era was very excited. Let's go, Mom. I want to go see the whales.
Mom, there we go. Mom, what is Victoria? Cedar said. I thought we were in the homelands of the Lekwungen speaking peoples, the Songhees and the Esquimalt First Nations. We are, Cedar. The settlers named it Victoria after they came. I like the way the First Nations people named their land better. The slides are not in the right order. There we go. Next. I pointed and asked, why are they taking that statue down? Ira added, it looks like some people are mad about it and some people are happy. Uncle Huckleberry explained to us, that's a statue of John A. Macdonald. He was the first Prime Minister of Canada. Some people only remember the good things he did. Others only remember the bad. We have to learn from the good and the bad parts of history, things that happened in the past, so we can make better decisions now and for future generations of cubs and of children. Cedar asked, What does prime minister mean, Uncle Huckleberry? Well, a prime minister leads a country along with some other people. They decide how to spend the money and what laws to make. What did John A. Macdonald do that was bad? I asked. Spirit Bear is very curious, isn't he? He's the one who thought residential schools were a good idea, replied Uncle Huckleberry. Cedar looked confused. Really? John A. Macdonald thought that taking First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children from their families and trying to make them be like settlers was a good idea? That is wrong, Ira said. I would not want someone to take me from my family and try to change me into someone else. If he came up with residential schools, I sure would not want to grow up to be like him. Lakinsu added, John A. Macdonald also made sure a railroad was built connecting British Columbia with the rest of Canada. That sounds good, I said. Lakinsu went on, yes, some of that was good because it helped bring goods like food to people, but the way he did it was bad. He wanted the plains that the First Nations people lived on for his railway. That was their home, and they didn't want to leave. But John A. Macdonald forced them onto reserves and made sure the buffalo that the First Nations depended on for food and clothing were all gone. Look at those buffalo. They were all gone. Cedar looked sad. Will the buffalo come back? Lakinsu put her paw on Cedar's shoulder and said, thankfully, the First Nations are bringing the buffalo back to the prairies right now. Cedar was very relieved. This statue is coming down because it's right next to City Hall. Who's been to City Hall? Do you know where City Hall is? That's where Charlene and I work. The statue is coming down because it's right next to City Hall. And this is where a lot of First Nations peoples have to go to get things done. The statue is being stored somewhere until they figure out how to use it to teach people Canada's history. What does reconciliation mean, Uncle Huckleberry? McGenway asked. It means learning from the past so we don't repeat the same mistakes and making the world a better place for all humans and animals. Uncle Huckleberry, who do you think will get the biggest fish? You or me? I asked. What do you think? Do you think Uncle Huckleberry or Spirit Bear is going to catch a bigger fish? Spirit Bear. Hey, Mom, everyone, it's Cindy the sheep, and she has kids with her. Some friends are joining them. I'm happy to see you, Cindy and Jake, I said. What are you doing here? I'm on a family vacation. Cindy said, after helping you with the court case to get equal services for First Nations kids, I told some students what was going on. They decided to learn more about First Nations and how they can help with reconciliation. Jake walks up and says, hey, Spirit Bear, how's my big reconciliation bear buddy? Meet my Aunt Mia.
Okay, it's time. Do we remember that cheer? Okay, but this time we're going to do something different. And we're going to have Charlene and Mare join us because they have bears. So we're going to put our bears up in the air, every grr, okay? We ready, everybody? Okay, and if you don't have a bear, you put your hand up in the air, right? And just think of your favorite stuffy or animal that you have at home, all right? So what are we going to start off with? Grr, 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 grr. Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't stand tall. Grr, 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 grr. And that's the most important thing about this story is that we can all make the world a better place. So let's continue on our story. What have you done on your vacation so far? Cindy asked. I was excited to share what we had done. We went fishing and actually not me, Spirit Bear. Cedar caught the big fish. And we went swimming and we ate lots of ice cream. Who likes ice cream? Yeah. Speaking of reconciliation, we saw a statue of John A. Macdonald coming down. Jake said, Cindy and I saw that too. I wonder what they'll do with it. What are they going to do with that statue? Maybe they'll do something like the folks did for Dr. Peter Henderson Bryce, said Cindy. Do you remember Spirit Bear? We went to his grave many years ago to say thank you for all he did to help First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children. Who was Dr. Bryce? Asked Era. Dr. Bryce worked for the federal government. That's the government in Ottawa. In 1907, that's a long time ago, he went to check on the health of the kids in residential schools and found that some of them were very sick. They had less medicine and healthcare help than other kids in Canada. And Dr. Bryce told the government that they needed to end the unfairness and help the kids in residential schools get healthy again. The federal government said it cost too much money. And a lot of kids were getting sicker, and some even died. And when the government told them they wouldn't help the kids, I added, Dr. Bryce put his story in the newspapers for the whole world to see. And some people spoke up, but a lot of people didn't. So now the government didn't help the kids. But that's why it's all important for all animals and people to speak up when something is wrong. When we have a chance to look out for each other, Mom said. So all together, let's say 4 thank yous to Dr. Bryce and everybody like him who speaks up when something is going on that's not good for someone else. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? What does Bryce have to do with the removal of the statue, Era said. Well, Cindy said, one day when Spirit Bear and I went to visit Dr. Bryce's grave at Beechwood Cemetery in Ottawa, we noticed staff were putting up special signs called plaques to teach the visitors about history. What is history? Yeah, you in the back? Multiple worlds. Yeah, it's really about telling the story from different people's perspectives, right? You know, that's about learning from how people saw the same things, but in different ways. Just when Cindy and I said, Dr. Bryce needs a plaque, a fox walked out of the forest. Do we have a fox in the room? Oh, we do? Where's the fox? Oh, right there. There's the fox. The fox said to us, hi there, my name is Echo. I am a fox and I live here at Beechwood and I take care of people who are feeling sad and I help out with other stuff too. Yes, said Cindy. And then I said, nice to meet you, Echo. Can you help us get a plaque for Dr. Bryce? I went on. Echo told us that the first thing we needed to do was to talk to Dr. Bryce's family and with the people who are in the cemetery who run it. We next needed to talk to the elders and the people who study history so that we get the words on the plaque right? To include those multiple worlds you're talking about. Cindy said, we followed Echo's advice. And in August of 2015, hey, who was born in 2015? Yeah, right there. You were too? That was a special year. I can see lots of special people born in that year and in other years too. Spirit Bear, Echo, and I helped put up the Dr. Bryce's family put up the plaque. So in the very same year you were born, the family put up a plaque so people could learn from history. Echo was so excited that a lot of other people and animals came to honor Dr. Bryce too. Echo told us that there were other people in Beechwood and who were involved in residential schools, I said. So we put up more plaques and made sure the words on them would help people learn from the past, right? Cindy added, yes, and now people and animals can see all the residential school plaques at Beechwood Cemetery and learn from the past to make things better today. And that's called reconciling history.
Cedar suggested maybe Echo could come to Victoria and help them put up a plaque for Sir John A. Macdonald that helps people learn from the past too. That's what I was thinking, Cedar, said Mary, and to make sure we teach it to schools. That's why every May and June, Echo, Spirit Bear, and I visit schools to plant heart gardens, said Jake. What's a heart garden, Jake? Cedar asked. It's when children draw pictures honoring the children in the residential schools, and then we cut them into heart shapes and plant them in a garden. That sounds pretty, Cedar exclaimed. Can we do one now? Later that day, I was getting hungry, so I asked Uncle Huckleberry for food. He said, "You better ask your sister to go fishing again." I replied, "Yeah, maybe this time I will just wait for you guys at the fish and chip stand and tell people about how they can reconcile history and to do some taste testing too, because I love fish and chips."
There's a huge timeline that your teachers can teach you about the history of Canada so that we could all learn from the past. But let's have another Spirit Bear cheer. And then I want to tell you what's going to happen with some of these bears, right? We got a bunch of bears here who need homes. So, so we got to talk about that. But let's try about the cheer now, right? So it's a Spirit Bear cheer. So let's do it. 1 gur, 2 gurs, 3 gurs, 4 gurs. Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't stand tall. Grr, 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 grr. And you know what? Just like every child matters, can you hold your stuffies up in the air? Or your hands in the air? Put your hands in the air. Do you notice how everyone is different? And all the stuffies we have in here are different. And that's what makes you special. And that's what we got to learn about one another, is honoring the difference that every single one of us has, right? That's the most important thing. Now, before I hand the mic back to the mayor and to Charlene, I want to talk about these bears. You see Spirit Bear over there. Do you know, I'm going to tell you something special about him. I'm going to go get him. I'm going to show you something. So he's a very special bear. He's 14 years old. So I think he's older than everybody in this room, pretty much, right? So, and he has a lot of different things that people have given him. This is his ribbon shirt underneath there. And there's a guy, very important man named Murray Sinclair, and he ran the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and he gave Spirit Bear a very sacred pin. Spirit Bear has a big wardrobe back in Ottawa. And anyway, what happened is that the kids in his community kind of took him and adopted him. And so they made sure that he had the regalia from the First Nations who are close to us, and that they taught Spirit Bear his stories and his language and everything else. And he also takes part in everything to do with truth and reconciliation, right? Outside, you're going to find some calendars, and every month there's something free for you to do at home or in your school to implement something called the calls to action. And that's just really things to make the world a better place. Now, Spirit Bear had so much work to do all over the country that he had to get his relatives involved. Who here has relatives? Yeah? Family members? Yeah? We all need some help from our family and friends. So anyway, we got a bunch of bears here. Yeah, I can see them. And, you know, what they're looking for are groups of children who will make sure that they do the work of learning from the past to make things better today, that will work with elders in their communities to kind of make sure the bear has proper clothing and dress, and gets to listen to stories in the different First Nations, Métis and Inuit languages. But the hard part is finding groups of kids like that. Do you know of any kids like that? You do? Who? What? You guys would do it? You would do it too? Okay. And in the back, we got it? Are we sure they're going to do it? Are you sure? Okay. Well, then I think, now this is one class right here. Okay. So there's one of them. All right. Now, you guys ready? Okay, now this is a bear for everybody. So everyone has to give the bear a hug before it goes home. Okay, ready? I'm going to close my eyes.
They have two classes over here as well.
There are two classes. So this is the front class. Okay, so here we go. Whoop. Oh, the bear landed there. All righty, we ready in the back? Ready in the back? Okay. Oh my gosh, this is a lot. I think you should do this one. Yeah, you got to go through it. I'm going to give you the hard work.
Oh, you ready to fly?
Okay, now do we have everybody's got a bear? Yeah?
Is there
You're
just two
welcome.
classes over here? Just two? Two classes. Okay, and two. Perfect.
Oh, we got another. Okay, now, Mayor,
Where's that bear going to go? Because all the classes have bears already.
you got all the classes have bears? Okay. Well, you know what? I think, who thinks everyone, this bear should go into the mayor's office? Yeah? And what do you think the bear's name should be? What do you think it should be? Spirit bear? What do you think it should be? Yeah? What do you think it should be? Brown bear. Yeah. What do you think it should be there? Spirit bear. It looks like, all right, let's take a vote here. Because what about you in the back? What do you think the name should be? Okay. And you? Okay, you already took that one. Okay. So the most votes seem to be going for Spirit bear.
I don't know if we can have maybe what about like Spirit Bear's cousin or Spirit Bear's I don't know.
I think it has to be
Spirit Bear.
You know, but the great thing about Spirit Bear is he needs middle names. And I think one of the things that you could have happen, Mayor, is that each class can come up with a middle name for the bear. Does that sound good? And what you guys are going to do is you're going to think about learning from the past and you're going to come up with a name. Oh. What's your name? What is your sharing? Oh. Yeah, you know what? There's lots of good ideas. Okay, everybody. So let's give this bear to the mayor.
That means that I have the same responsibility of every other classroom that got a bear, which means that I have to work with Charlene and our other counselor here, Marianne, to make sure that all of the 94,000 people who live in Victoria understand the importance of Spirit Bear and Spirit Bear's work and the importance of reconciliation.
You know what's really cool, Mayor, is you said 94,000. There are 94 calls to action for the TRC, right? So this is the city to get it done.
This is the city to get it done. Before you all get back onto your buses, we also wanted, yes, you are on to us. We're going to. Oh, yes, this is my bear. I brought my bear today, and this is Reconciliation Bear. And he's wearing a Orange Shirt Day pin, and he came to meet Spirit Bear today. Cindy asked, would I bring my bear? And so this is my bear. I've had this bear for a very long time, since when I was a kid, absolutely. And so he came today to meet Spirit Bear. One of the things that we wanted, Gala, can you grab a microphone? We want to make sure that anyone who wants to ask Cindy a question is able to do that. So Gala is here, and she works in the mayor's office, and we see a hand right up at the back there. So if you have a question or anything you'd like to say to Cindy, Gala will come and she'll hold the microphone really close to you so you don't have to hold it yourself. And you can just ask whatever question you want. So if you have a question, you can put your hand up. Okay, so we'll start at the back.
Why is there holes in the wall?
Yeah, what are those holes in the wall? Are those like secret passages to the past and the future?
Like that one had the bag in it.
Yeah, I have no idea. We'll have to figure out an answer. It's to store equipment. So Gala, there's a couple of questions down here in the front. And I'm happy to answer questions, but our very special guest here is.
You have a question?
I want to see what that hole leads us to.
You know what? I want to see where those places lead to. But I think it's just a hole with a bag. And you know what was in the bag? Those very special bears that you just got, each one of them. Like a cave, a bear den.
What are you gonna say?
I'm going to say why.
What's your question?
My question is.
Okay, do you want to whisper?
Always good to get help with questions.
How is Spirit Bear?
How old is Spirit Bear? He was born in 2007 in the huckleberry fields. Who knows what a huckleberry is? Yeah? Some of you have had them. They're really good. They're like blueberries, except darker. So in the huckleberry fields of northern BC. So he will be now 14. He turned his birthday, because it's a birthday. Your bears will have birthdays too. You'll have to figure that out. Is May 10th.
How old is the other bear?
Yeah, that's a good question.
This bear, probably about 30 years old. It's a
Woo!
very old bear. Gala, there's some questions over here too.
You know, the good thing is you're never too old for teddy bears.
Ever too old for teddy bears.
No. Some people think you are, but they're not right.
What did they do with the statue?
Yeah, good question. What did they do with the statue?
So the statue, as Spirit Bear told us in his book, the statue is put away in a very special and safe place that is not on public display. It's in a city building. And a group called the City Family, which is Marianne and Charlene and myself and our brothers and sisters from the Songhees and Esquimalt Nations, we're all working to figure out what's the best thing to do with the statue. Some people feel that if we put the statue back up, it's going to cause a lot of pain for a lot of people. Some people will be very upset. But some people feel that if we don't put the statue back up, that we're not going to understand all of the history of our country, both the good and the bad, like Spirit Bear's book told us. So we don't know what to do with the statue right now. It's very complicated, but we're having some conversations to figure it out.
You have a question?
Why is
You have a question?
why is the spirit statue gonna come down?
Well, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
The question was, why did the statue come down? That's an excellent question. Every month at my office at City Hall, the members of the Indigenous city family come and we have dinner together. And the statue is right on the front steps. And so the members of the city family who are Indigenous, they had to walk past this statue. And it was very painful because, as Spirit Bear told us in his book, at the same time as John A. Macdonald, the first prime minister, helped to build Canada, he also did a lot of bad things to Indigenous people. And so the Indigenous people felt that it was very painful. They felt sad and hurt and angry just to come into my office. And so we felt that it was important to listen to their sadness and their hurt and their anger and move the statue from the front steps until we could figure out a better place for it and a better thing to do. So basically we moved it so that people wouldn't feel sad and hurt and angry when they came into City Hall.
How many books did she write?
How many books did you write?
Oh, actually, there are 4 different books, and that's a really good question. The first one on October 22nd is Jordan River Anderson's birthday. He's a special little boy who created something called Jordan's Principle, which has meant that First Nations kids have gotten the help they need when they need it. That was the first book. It's called Spirit Bear and Children Make History. And that one's an animation. And would you guys like to watch an animation when you get back to your schools and to your daycares? It's Spirit Bear and animation. So we could send you the links for that for your teachers. And that was 23 minutes long. And then we have Spirit Bear Fishing for Knowledge, Catching Dreams. And that is about how did First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children, before the settlers ever come, how did they learn? Because they went to school, but their school was different. So how did they learn and who taught them? And then how have things changed? So that's the second book. And the third book is Honoring Memories, Planting Dreams, which is about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And remember in the book, it had Planting the Heart Gardens. Well, that's in that book. And then this is the fourth book, Spirit Bear and Children Make History. And you know what the super cool thing about all these books are? Is it tells a true story of how kids actually, just like you, made a difference and have really helped out with reconciliation. And if you listen close to the animation, the voices are voices of children just like you who actually came and helped out and made a difference.
Okay, we have another question.
What is another bear is right there on my hand right there? How old is it?
Oh,
So this bear is one of Cindy's and Spirit Bear's helper bears that just came today. Cindy, how old are these bears? Are they the same age as Spirit Bear, or are they recent helpers, or how old are these ones?
you know what? Is each of these bears need a very special birthday. So you have to think of a special day linked to all the work you're going to be doing that's important in reconciliation. And that's going to be the birthday. And then you have a birthday party where you bring bears like weird stuffies like we did today, that you all together with children, you do something to help with the truth and reconciliations work. So you gotta figure out what day that bear is going to have the birthday.
So we don't know yet how old this bear is because it doesn't have a birthday yet, but we'll figure it out. I think we have time for a couple more questions before you all have to get back onto your buses. So go ahead.
Why did they remove the statue? Oh.
Why did we remove the statue? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was
That's a really
that's
good
a
question.
good question. So let's answer that one. Why was the statue even put there first? Well, this is how things used to happen before we all got a little bit better at reconciliation. So in the 1980s, maybe in 1981, the mayor at that time thought it would be a good idea to put a statue of John A. Macdonald on the front steps of City Hall. And do you know what he did? He just put it there.
Mhm.
He didn't ask the Lekwungen people, the Songhees and the Esquimalt nations, is this okay to put this statue here? He just put it there. And so our decision to remove it was actually in conversation with the Songhees and the Esquimalt nations. So we've learned from his time to our time that in order to put something or remove something, you need to ask first the people of the land.
You know, and that gets back to your point in the back where you talked about history being about multiple stories. If you tell the history of Canada from the perspective, from the way that a First Nations person experienced it, that's a different story than someone who came later from another country to Canada. And both of those stories are important to hear, but they're different stories. And that's why asking people before you do something like putting up a statue is so important. You need to understand all the statues and do something that uplifts everyone, makes everyone feel good about themselves and doesn't make them feel sad or afraid when they come into a place like City Hall.
Okay, we'll take one last question, and then after that, we're going to give you all a special gift as you leave.
Well, I don't have a question. I just have another name for the bear. I think Muffin's like a good name.
Muffins?
Muffin.
What, can you repeat that or get?
Muffin.
Muffin should be the
Oh,
bear.
we should
Ah!
this bear should be named Muffin.
That's one of my favorite foods, I have to say.
How many
right?
people think should the city's reconciliation bear be named Muffin?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the bear is now named Muffin, but it needs a birthday. Okay, so you have there's a lot. Maybe if you have a good idea for what you want its middle name to be, you can let us know. And also don't forget that you get to name your bear. So let's
Yeah.
just recap before we thank Cindy very much, not only for coming here today, but also for writing a book. And this book, she brought enough copies for every single one of you. So you all get to take this book home with you. You can share it with your friends and your parents and your aunties and your uncles and whoever you think might like to read this. And you can say, I met the author and I met Spirit Bear. So let's give Cindy a big round of applause. And then why don't we do her cheer, Spirit Bear's cheer, to really thank her.
Yeah, and a shout out for Charlene here and to the mayor, right? For bringing us all together. Okay. Now, you guys have done the Spirit Bear cheer 3 times. Who wants to teach us how to do it? You do? Okay. All right. You ready? Teach us how to do it. Grr. 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 Just because we're small doesn't mean we can't stand tall. Grr. 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 And teachers, good news is there's an actual teacher's guide on our website with these books, and they're translated into 2 First Nations languages. So you can share them in your schools and share them around with other educators. And 3 cheers for the teachers and the parents who came out to join us for today. So and pardon? Oh, and the TAs as well. Yay! 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 Thank you very much.